Hey there, everyone. This video is a little late, about 12 hours or so. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do one today. I've been thinking a lot, and I've had a number of conversations today with different friends. Been on the phone a lot, and just talking to people. And I heard a couple of things, and some things were troubling, some things were remembering. One thing that I heard is the box kept getting smaller. One of the women describing her life, and when she reached the point that she had to do something. She said, my life was just, the box I was fitting in kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think there's a lot of us that can relate. One of the thing I posted from Ange, I remember at one point we were talking, and her life got smaller and smaller and smaller. What she could do, her anxiety, meant her life got smaller and smaller. Other people, their depression, I've watched that, where the depression gets smaller and smaller. With me, my life got smaller and smaller because trust. You know, I wore all those different experiences and the trust that had been broken and the shell around me like a badge, like some sort of armor. And you know, oh, I've had my heart broke so many times, and I've had this man cheat on me, that man cheat on me, this one abused me, that one, you know, and all good reasons for keeping my life very small and keeping people out. And no, it wasn't. I'm looking at what drove me, what made me start looking at myself and wanting to make changes. And that's a very, very good analogy. The box kept getting smaller until it was to the point where I didn't trust me. I trusted other people more than I trusted myself. I didn't trust myself to make good decisions. I didn't trust myself to choose the right job, the right class, the right person to hang around with. I didn't trust myself to choose the right topic for a paper. I didn't trust myself to even make a meal that people would eat. I didn't trust myself at all. And that's pretty far down. Yeah, so that was one conversation, just remembering that the box got really, really small. And then the other conversation I had that really made me think about what we're teaching people, what people are learning about themselves, is that one, we have to go back and relive that. We have to remember that, you know. And as we talk more about it, we're going to remember, and we need to remember all that. That's a long, long, drawn out process, because you know, I've been 55 years almost, 55 years on this earth, so I've got to go back through all those years and sort through it. And I accepted that. I accepted that as being the way it's supposed to be. This is the way things happen. You know, everything happened to me, took a long time. It's going to take me a long, long time to get over it. You know, if it takes you 20 years to get here, it's going to take you at least 10 to get back. And believe it or not, I look back at that and I go, bullshit. Absolute bullshit. I didn't have to remember anything. I didn't have to go back and relive any of that crap. I don't need to. I don't need to know why I am the way I am. I just need to change it. That might not make sense to a lot of people, but if we think about it in terms of memory and what we actually remember, your memory is only the gist. So if it's abuse, I know I was abused. At least that is my perception, is I was abused, or I was cheated on, or that is my perception of what happened. Okay? That is based on my influences. That's based on the way I view the world, the way I was influenced by my parents to view the world, society, my culture, where I live. All those influences have told me that this is my perception of what happened. Okay? So that's influencing my memory. That's telling me this is what you remember. You remember abuse. You remember being cheated on. Let's take cheated on. You remember being cheated on. Well, do I? That's a perception. That's based on some morality moral views I had at that time. I have to say, most of the time I looked at and went, well, thank God dodged that bullet. You know, thank you for getting the hell out of my way. But I still wore that anger, betrayal, distrust, even though I knew my life was better without that person. So now what I'm left with is, if my life is better without that person, I'm left with dealing with the results, the response, how I claimed victimhood in that situation. And that was mindset. That's going back. That's looking at all those influences. That's choosing which ones I want to move forward with. That has nothing to do with the memory. That has nothing to do with what happened. That has to do with my reaction and the way I perceive things. And if we're looking to change our lives, I can't go back and change that memory. What I can do is change my response and take away the power, the button that memory has. If you think about it, we've all got buttons, various buttons that, you know, you hear a certain noise, you hear a certain word or phrase, you hear, or you smell something. I smell pipe tobacco. I think of my dad. But we all have a lot of sensory memories, as well as phrases, tones. We only do very, very little of our conversation is through actual sight. We have a whole lot that gets taken in our unconscious minds without us even being aware of it. So chances are those particular memories or responses or whatever have occurred unconsciously. Those connections, that's the word I'm going for, those connections between that memory and what's coming up. So I don't want to deal with that memory. I don't want to remember that. Why? Why bother? Yeah, I might have an idea that something happened. I might even be able to say, this happened, that happened, this is how I felt. Maybe I go, I felt suicidal when this happened. Okay. And what was the response? What was my reaction? What do I want to change today that came from, or possibly came from, was reinforced by other memories, other situations that came along? What do I want to change today? Okay? And that's in your unconscious. That's your mindset. That's where you need to dig that out. It's not in your conscious. It's not going to be gotten to by a lot of counseling. Although counseling can work very well in parallel, and there's a lot of good stuff done in counseling. But this is mindset stuff. These triggers, mindset. That's an unconscious trigger. And in order to take the power away from that, that's mindset. So, it was a very, very interesting day for a lot of different realizations and a lot of me taking responsibility for my triggers. If I see my boss's name, if I hear his voice, I'm triggered right now. So I need to look at that. I need to figure out what that is. And I need to deal with it. And I am. What are you dealing with? One of the things I hear a lot of people doing is distracting from. I did it a lot myself, where you just, go play games, play video games. I'll go and I'll clean. There are people who clean for distraction. There are people who bake for distraction. There are eating. A lot of different things. So take a look at things. How could you be avoiding looking at various things in your life that are making your box smaller? And are you ready to check away the box? I know I was darn tired of it. And that's why I made the changes I made. So, anyways, hugs and love, everybody. I hope you had an awesome weekend. Monday tomorrow, yay! Monday's a great day, isn't it? I love getting up early. Mind you, I do that all days. So, anyways, hugs and love. Have a great weekend, or a great week, and a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.